Hello indie game fans, hope you folks are having a good Steam sale and a better start to the second half of 2020. This week is still in the middle of the Steam sale, so a smaller than usual number of new releases, but what is coming out is pretty exciting, beginning with Primal Light. This linear pixel art action platformer has won me over ever since I laid my eyes on it for how great it looks, both in terms of the art and animation. It is a little, shall we say, plain in presentation, since it is mostly generic hues of red and brown, but the detail in the art itself is quite impressive. One that pays tribute to the 16-bit era, I'm interested in the progression system if any, or if it is just a straight up throwback. I featured Riff Wizard a little while ago since this traditional turn-based roguelike did appeal to me. The scale of everything seems impressive, where you play as a spell-slinging wizard and have to blast your way through the literal hordes of enemies in order to get to your nemesis. There are over 100 unique spells and abilities, from fireballs and chain lightning, so to be able to decimate entire swarms of enemies seems very satisfying. One title that many people have been waiting for the port of is Frescoed, the excellent, massive action-adventure RPG that released out of Steam Early Access in 2018. This will be available on all major modern platforms, and I'm excited for you to dig in if you have not. It takes place in an MMO-like world, but is completely single-player, so expect a massive number of NPCs, quest objectives, lore, story, enemies, and so on. The pixel art perfectly captures the feel of Japanese-style games in the genre from the 90s, and is such a massive game that is tremendously well crafted. The fast-paced splatformer Right also releases this week, and was a highlight for some of you when I last featured it in the video on the best indie games out this month. Spikes, saw blades, swinging axes and pits will be your main nemesis, but excellent visual design and should be a great one.
Dear adventurers, it seems you've managed to invite yourself into my dungeon full of amazing riches. No, that's okay. It's all yours. I mean, I can't even begin to count the number of things that could kill you in here. But be my guest. Now, if you're as persistent as you seem, it won't be long before we cross paths. See you soon, the Dark Lord.
I was a fan of the original game, hence Soda Dungeon 2 does have my attention. This is an idle or incremental RPG where you hire adventurers and delve into the dungeon, slaying monsters while guzzling soda. It is just a little bit more involved as compared to other idle games due to the turn-based RPG portion, so if it builds on that foundation and adds more stuff, this one should be a no-brainer. Just a quick note, if you are new here and enjoyed the video so far, be sure to subscribe and check out the Discord channel while you are at it. Here's to more indie gaming coverage, so back to the video. I'll admit it, I'm really not the biggest fan of the pixel art style in Elden Path of the Forgotten due to the lack of outlines on everything and that lanky Super Brothers style. However, this is an action-adventure RPG with indirect, non-traditional storytelling and brutal, technical combat, so perhaps Souls-like in nature. A little bit unsettling with the eldritch horror motif, but it could be a neat one and worth checking out. A very anime and very Japanese turn-based RPG is Aria Chronicle, where you play as the princess of a kingdom who uncovers a deep-rooted corruption within. Other than that, the translation on the store page does seem to be a little bit rough, but it looks alright and may be of interest, and of course, there is English translation rather than what is shown in the trailer.
Are you looking for something new? Are you looking for a home away from home? Then come on down to Lucare, a cozy rural town in the great state of Louisiana. Experience all the beautiful nature and wide range of fun activities that this historic part of the Deep South has to offer.
I guess this kinda counts as indie, since Deadly Premonition 2, A Blessing in Disguise, is the sequel to a cult classic horror adventure game made with perhaps not too much of a budget and is expected to be all kinds of weird. Those in the know did lose it when it was revealed during a Nintendo Direct, where the sequel treads some old ground in reopening the case of a serial killer from 14 years ago. I find Jim Sterling's review of the original so very apt, since he describes it like watching two clowns eat each other, and while I do not have any affinity for the first, it has at least got me curious about this.
You might even experience something out of the ordinary. In fact, it might end up being so much fun that you find it hard to leave. Isn't that right, Zach?
Pater noster, qui es in caelis, sanctificetur nomen tuum. Anno Domini 1347. The Black Death has descended upon us, and now our sins are punished. It came from the lands of the East, turning once prosperous cities into hollow shells of wood and stone. Now through trade and commerce it spreads. Even when we kneel together in prayer, it thrives on the battlefields.
Developer Reverie World Studios is best known for the Kingdom Wars Grand Strategy RTS series, and The Plague Kingdom Wars is the latest entry. It does look a little bit janky, but is wholly ambitious mechanics-wise, mixing city management and large, epic-scale combat. The Black Death is upon your kingdom, so use primitive medicine to hold it off as best you can. There's an option to turn on Undead mode, where the dead get reanimated as shambling zombies, so perhaps live out some fraction of your Game of Thrones fantasy.
Denying or laughing in the palaces. And so it spread across the continent. The warlords of the North and Wild Steppes didn't care. This was their chance to rise. The church should have excommunicated all who dared wage war in such a time. But instead, the cities burned. For what happened next? The fallen stirred and staggered, rising to mindless undead life, and swarms of them are now marching on Rome. Mayhap one lord can ascend in righteous fury and take charge. Or mayhap it is already too late.
Demonkind's stronghold is once again under siege by a new group of demon slayers. Zangetsu, a sword-wielding exorcist who will stop at nothing to eradicate all demons.
Of course, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 makes the list, since this classic Veena is an action platformer and the sequel to the 8-bit accompanying game to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Robert, a sharpshooting soldier capable of sniping his demonic foes with an arsenal of firearms. Hachi, a corgi who pulverizes demons by controlling.
It has the more classic 8-bit look with linear action platforming levels, with a variety of characters, both returning as well as new ones which you can swap between.
Miriam, a young woman who had shards transplanted by alchemists. Alfred, an alchemist on a continuous journey through the Logaeth texts. Jebel, a young man with a deep hatred for humans and alchemists alike. Fates intertwine as the clash against demonkind begins anew.
The sequel introduces co-op, so grab a friend and slay some demons, and it has such an awesome look, especially in the bosses, so for giving fans more of what they want, it takes the #1 spot. To see more of the big picture, check out these awesome videos, and I will see you after the jump.
Curse of the Moon 2.